The school at the Army Experimental Station is fully equipped to train specialists for combat. Here, the men are taught everything they need to know to carry out their mission. The operation and repair of motor generators, the source of electrical power for the units. Radio code and procedure. CW operation and radio repair. Here in the test section, they learn to track down and diagnose breakdowns and failures in their own sonic equipment. They study sonic repair. The loudspeakers, one of the most vital factors in their operations, are specially built and the most powerful of their type in existence. They learn to operate the disc machines on which they will make their sound recordings overseas. On the wire machines, the sound is re-recorded in the form of electromagnetic impulses on steel wire only 6/1000ths of an inch in diameter. Here, the men study the maintenance and repair of this apparatus. And finally, in teams, exactly as they will work in combat, they learn the most important lesson of their training: how to make best use of their knowledge and equipment to deceive the enemy. Let's see how they used it to make this German officer yell,
"But how did it happen?"
The Major General commanding our armored division was part of it, but he didn't know the answer either. What? No general? And no armored division? A master sergeant in general's jacket and some other enlisted men for a staff. They and the Jeep came from an engineer outfit miles back. If you remember the German map, two of our infantry divisions were here and here, the enemy across the river. This division took a bridge intact and established its bridgehead. Up here, they crossed in boats. German headquarters was there. Their reserves and tank destroyers here. Our Corps headquarters was waiting for the 66th Armored Division to move in and reinforce them during the day. They'd have been there except that they ran into a town that was one fresh heap of rubble. There was no way around or through until it was cleared. Word was sent to the Corps commander, who was faced with a dangerous delay in his plan. He sent for the CO of the Sonic Company.
If Jerry counterattacks before I can support those river crossings with armor, I'm liable to lose him. Any ideas?
Yes, sir. I have a plan that I'd like to submit for your approval.
The first thing was to convince the enemy that armor was moving in. So the engineer master sergeant and his staff came to town. This character didn't know their faces, so he carried the news. The major went back to his CP to get the rest of it set. The first thing he did was get the weather forecast, then laid out his detailed plan.
Well, that's the story. Any suggestions?
Sounds okay, Major.
Right.
They got to work. Sonic companies have their own recording vehicles, but in this case, the sounds they needed were in the library. On turntable 1 goes a recording of trucks moving in, stopping. On turntable 2 goes a recording of pontons and other material being unloaded. On 3 goes a bulldozer working and a bridge being constructed. All these are sounds that would be heard by the enemy if a bridge were being built. And all these components, before they can be projected from the loudspeakers, must be mixed onto one soundtrack, which is recorded on wire. The mobile weather station is in constant communication with the CP. The command post is in direct communication with the sonic cars. The sonic cars move into position near the riverbank. Car number 1 is given the recording of bridge building operations. 2 gets a recording of tanks moving into assembly. Number 3 takes up position here, by the bridge, where the road running parallel to the river joins the main road. It carries a recording of a moving armored column. The others are spotted along the river road. The delayed armored division moves down the main road toward the bridge. No need for individual orders from the CP to the sonic cars. A timetable has been laid out to the split second. All they need is the starting signal. That's when the Germans reported sounds of bridge building across the river. And the second enemy OP reported tanks coming down the road toward the bridge over the river. The tanks moved to here and stopped. Sonic Car 3 started projecting the sound of a tank column. And he reported that the column had turned off the main road onto the river road. The next car took over on schedule. Here at the wooden bridge in the road, this one projected tanks in column, crossing it at proper intervals. This artillery OP listened, counted, and reported. At the little hill, this one projected the sound of tanks going up. This one projected tanks going down.
All 3 counts check.
Here, Car 2 cut in with its sound of tanks moving into assembly. And this, in turn, was reported to the enemy headquarters.
Proceed as planned.
A sonic company had convinced them that an armored division, under cover of darkness, had moved along the river across from them. The enemy committed his tank destroyers and reserves to this bridgehead up here. They moved into position and waited. And they waited. And we crossed down here where they weren't. Our tanks broke through and swept around their rear in a deep arc, knocking out their artillery as they went.
How do I know how it happened?
And what's more, he never found out.